very warm welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis, which is presented to you by Losico. Today, we'll discuss important articles from the newspaper of 6th August 2021. We have two important articles of the day. The first is titled as India Nepal Flood Management Need Course Correction. This is a beautiful article from The Hindu written by policy analyst and columnist Atul K. Thakur. It talks about the ruckus that is created by the flood situation in the Bihar and also in the Terai region of Nepal and how can that be tackled. So the second article is titled as Why Are Government Schools Not the First Choice? In this article, we'll discuss about the condition of the government school and the education system in the schools of our country and what can be the solution to revamp the situation in this. This newspaper analysis is presented to you by me. My name is Ankita Parida. I'm manager for social media outreach and free content team for Loss Eco. You can reach out to me at my LinkedIn or Twitter handle. The MCQ section for the day. Your question is All India Council for Technical Education AICTE permitted BTech program in how many native languages? In lines of the national education policy. Your options are 4 native languages, option B 6 native languages, option C 8 native languages or option D 11 native languages. You can write your answer in the comment section. Moving to the descriptive question for the day. How can the promise of wider access to government schools be realized? Discuss. You can write your answer in 250 to 300 words. So, moving to the first article of the day, we talk about India Nepal flood management need course correction, which is the title of the article, and we talk about the situation of Bihar and the Tarai region in the in this situation when we have a ruckus of flood taking place in that area because of heavy rain. So, the Bihar Disaster Management Department has released two documents titled as Pre-Flood Preparedness and Flood Control Order 2021. The aim is to help the local administration in terms of preparedness and having in place a relief support system and also re-energizing the old plan and arrangement between India and Nepal. The aim of the policy is also talking about it. Let's discuss the little background about this flood management system which has been taken place since long time. So previously Nitish Kumar, during his tenure as a chief minister in the time of 2005 to 2010, had made few noticeable structural changes with renewed approaches in infrastructure, augmentation of dams, reservoirs, detention basins, embankments, and channel improvements. Also, he had made some non-structural measures which were like adopting forecasting and warning system, flood plain management, flood insurance, and financial cooperation compensation for people. However, people in that area still continue to suffer with perennial flood in the northern Bihar region, and this region is basically known as the Mithilanchal region in the colloquial language, and this area is consisting of 76 of the percent of the population of Bihar which are facing recurring threats of flood devastation, and 73.06% are generally affected with the flood every year. So this number corresponds to almost 5 crore population of the country who are affected almost every year because of flood situation in Bihar. Now let's understand what are the fundamentals of floodings in Bihar. Historically, Bihar has been known to be the India's most flood prone state. Why is this? Because it is just south to the Himalayan nation or the Nepal, from where many rivers like Kosi, Gandak, Birhi, Bagmati, Kamalbalam, Mahananda, and Adhwara come up. And these these rivers, as they flow through Bihar, the catchment area lies in the Bihar region, and sometimes because of heavy rainfall, these catchment areas are affected by the floods. And also, it has been seen that these rivers have high current, and because of this, they tend to change their course. Because of change in course, the flood deviates from the river deviates from its own course and affecting this adjacent area, thus affecting the population. Let's discuss the population which are affected and the what are the area which is affected. So almost 68,800 square kilometers out of total geographical area of 94,163 square kilometers of the total area of Bihar is affected because of these kind of flood situation in the state. And this area is basically 35% of the catchment area of which are belonging to Bihar, and it corresponds to the catchment area of these rivers. Now let's see what are the past cooperation has been which has been done in terms of India Nepal interstate cooperations. Let's see. So Kathmandu has not been very willing in doing any kind of cooperative effort to manage the flood in many years. However, the soldiers in the Nepal region have come up many a times and the retired Nepali soldiers have come voluntarily to join hands with the Indian volunteers and have started work on the Koshi embankment. Please note that Koshi is also known as the sorrow of Bihar because it has caused many floods again and again. And previously in 1937, high dams were planned and built after devastating flood in 1953. Also, Koshi Treaty was signed in 1954. Also, embankments in Nepal were established and maintained, but it was not enough provision for maintaining the flood. Also, deposition of stones, sand, and silt and sediments had led to river beds rising subsequently in these years, and therefore the river has shifted 100 kilometer westward today, and thereby causing huge ruckus today in this time. So what can be done today? So the basic step which is very important today that is that there should be a re-establishment of water cooperation as a common cause, and draw a- a- and and take steps taking inspiration from joint action which can be taken between India and Nepal. Also, greater attention is needed to be given to the calamity and its devastating effects on life, and this situation should be taken up more prevalently by the government of India and Nepal as well, in order to save the magnanimity of the lives which are involved in this flood situation. So here you can see the map. This is the map of Bihar, and these are the rivers like Koshi, Gandak, and Son are flowing into Bihar. And this is basically, you can see the radial drainage which is happening, and these tend to change their course of action, and they change their coast and causing flood in many a times. So now moving to the second article of the day, it talks about public education system in India. So recently, the Patna High Court has asked for data on how many IS and IPS officers have enrolled their wards in government schools. It is very evident that many IS, IPS officers, powerful people, and ministers do not enroll their wards and children in the government school, but they tend to send their children or wards either to private school, or they send their wards to the residential schools which are private, or they send them to foreign institutions. So it is very important to see here that the people who are maintaining these systems, that is the government schools, they are themselves not willing to send their children to the institution. And taking a note of that, the Patna High Court has asked this kind of data when it has seen that there is a very bad condition today we see in the government schools. And in this pandemic situation, when people are not able to fill up the fees of the students in the private schools, and they're not able to pay for the fees because of loss of employment. And in this situation, they are they are forced to join they are forced to send their wards to the government school. However, these schools are not even having the basic amenities. Today, around 51% of the students are there in the government schools and nearly 10% in government aided school. Yet, there has been seen that there is some kind of bias against them. So, let's know about the basic issues with the government school. So, first thing is that people feel that there are not enough teachers in these schools, or the schools may not be functioning regularly. So why it is so? When we see that the government teachers are given more salary, more perks, then why it is the situation that people are having this kind of notion? And even the situation is that poor children who do not have tuition and parents to support them at their home are the victim, because they do not even have the guidance of the teachers who are staying sometimes and most of the time absent, which has been seen in the government schools. Also, the subsequent problem, or the parallel problem, is that private schools, though they pay very less to the teachers, they have a brand in themselves. They create a brand, they create a audience persona in the public, such that the people think that they are better and they are English medium school, so parents feel that it is good for their children. However, children do not learn better in secondary languages. As in India, hardly many people are having English as their mother tongue, but many have other kind of languages like Nepali, or Bengali, or Odia, or Malayali, or Telugu are their mother tongue. But the people have, because of this branding of their schools, they have this notion that private English medium schools are better for their children. Also, the second problem, we see that barely 15% of the schools can be called as RTE compliant. So there has been 10 years since the right to education law, which has been brought in place. However, till date, we do not see even the private schools are very compliant with the RTE regulations. Why it is so? That we do not have the things or the infrastructure to comply with the RTE, which whatever is given in our right to education system. Section 29 of the RT explains what kind of education every child has a right to, and there is today no school complying with that, including the Enlight schools, which talks about discovery and activities which are child centered, and on developing the potential of every child, and not calling them slow learners, and even not testing them in a centralized way. As we know today, whether we have exams or not, yet today still we have the testing system, and we still have the situation that the child feels underconfident and feels that they are the slow learners. In this situation, the parallel thing we see here, that we have a range of schools in our country which are public schools, like the Kendra Vidyalayas, the Navodaya Vidyalayas, the Jilla schools. However, these are not taken into account, and these are also not made RT compliant. The highest of the kind, that is Navodaya Vidyalayas, which are the islands of excellence and comparatively looked at for like admissions in a better school like this, rather than the other government school. These are also not 100% RT compliant. As you see, the number is very low, that is only 50% are RT compliant. So the situation is that even these models of the schools, that is the KVs and the Jilla schools in the and the village Jilla Panchayat schools, are also not having the proper amenities to deal with this. And now, coming to the amenities thing, we have a drop of net enrollment girls from primary to secondary. So this is again a very important situation which we face, and there is a gender gap right from the education system in India, we see here. Because The primary schools are much more nearer to the homes of the children rather than the secondary schools. The secondary schools are sometimes are only situated in single building in a panchayat or something that kind of, and the children from one village cannot travel a distance. In fact, the girl, for it is very difficult for the girl because there is no safe public transportation which is provided to her, and thereby causing many social issues. They are having or being compelled to drop out, and sometimes child marriage is also child marriage is also a reason for all these kind of discrepancies that are there. Now let's talk about what are the good things about the government schools. So the first thing I would like to note here is that education in the mother tongue in the primary years helps a child build a prior knowledge is the first thing to be kept in mind here. And this is and this thing is very evidently seen in the government school, as most of the government schools are having their education system being imparted in the mother tongue, and this makes very easy for the student to excel in the subsequent years of their life. The second thing is that the children who are enrolled in the government schools, or the student who get a chance to read in the kendra vidyalayas, have to study with the children from different socio-economic backgrounds, and these kind of situation exposes the child to a better understanding about the socio-economic of the society and its background, and it makes and it gives him more exposure than a child who has been studying in a private school with only the elite kind of people. The third thing is that government teachers' job is secure with attractive salary, perks, and retirement benefit, and therefore more talent is drawn into the government teachers teaching sector. And because of this, we have the cream of the society, or the cream of the teachers enrolled into the government teacher network. Now, the last but not the least is the midday meal contribution that is done by the government school to the children of our country. We have the midday meals system in the Antyodaya Yojana and other government school, in which the girls and the boys are given meals, and this is very important, and it ensures that the nutritional level of the children is maintained all over the country. However, still we see here that there are issues in which the personal branding is the biggest issue, in which the children or the people have the notion that private school are better, and that is why all the influential people are tending to put their children in the government schools. This is this needs to be tackled systematically. So the author suggests that there needs to be micro plan for every school and larger plan for district and state level, and this the schools themselves should be given a autonomy to work out on their micro plan so as to make their schools much better. Also, um, also the schools need to be provided with basic needs, and their role should be enhanced as local bodies so that they can be centers of excellence in future. So, if you are also willing to listen to our daily news analysis podcast, you can get the link to it. We are doing thorough newspaper analysis podcast since a long time, and we have our podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, Anchors, and Google Podcast as well. So, you can get the link in the description section of this video and listen to our podcast there also. Also, if you want to get free study materials and TNA PDF slides, please join our Telegram channel. The link to the channel is given in the description box. Also, you can scan it from directly from here and join the channel. And also, you can follow for more updates on the lawseeco.judiciary, lawseeco CLAT Prep, and UGC Net Lawseeco for more such updates. So this was all for today. Thank you.